But I can tell you that at that time, and as I sit here today, that I believe that boat wreck is the reason why Paul and Maggie were killed.
Alex Murdaugh taking the stand for a second straight day of powerful testimony in his own double murder trial.
The state worked to convince the jury that there were inconsistencies in Alex's alibi, and prosecutors keyed in on lies that he's already admitted to telling.
Tonight, our News 2 team has coverage from Colleton County covering the details of day 24 in the Alex Murdaugh murder trial. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carolyn Murray.
And I'm Erin Morgan.
News 2's Brendan Clark joins us now live from outside the Colleton County Courthouse with the very latest from the trial. And Brendan, a lot of people spent a lot of time watching every minute of Alex Murdaugh's testimony today.
Yeah, one big part. Let's talk about June 7th. When the prosecution said that today in the Alex Murdaugh murder case, we knew two things. That Alex Murdaugh would have to tell us why he lied to investigators and what he was doing when Paul and Maggie were killed. This is the second day of testimony for Alex Murdaugh on the stand, cross-examination lasting most of today. During cross, we talked more about Murdaugh's financial crimes, his addiction to opioids, and why he lied about being at the kennels just minutes before his wife and son were murdered. Prosecutors Creighton Waters hammering away at Murdaugh, saying lying was easy for him. Questioned why he went silent in the minutes after leaving the kennels and why so active shortly after that. Murdaugh admitted time and time again that yes, he lied to pretty much everyone about everything, but denies killing his family members or manufacturing an alibi.
Well, the real reason, Mr. Murdaugh, is that you as a lawyer and prosecutor are up at 9:02, finally having your phone in your hand, moving around and making all these phone calls to manufacture an alibi. Is that not true?
That's absolutely incorrect.
So that's just another circumstance and coincidence in this particular case. Right around the time that you lied to law enforcement about maybe one of the most important facts in the case.
So what does Alex Murdaugh think happened? He says he thinks Paul and Maggie were killed as a result of that boating accident back in 2019 in which Mallory Beach was killed. And interestingly enough, as we bring in Riley Benson with team coverage, that boating accident happened 4 years ago today.
Yeah, Brendan, certainly the boating accident is what Alex has really blamed the entire time since this happened. But, you know, we would talk about these stories that Alex gave today, explanations to what you were just talking about. Every time he did that, Creighton would fire back saying, is that just another lie that you're creating on the stand right now? Certainly you would think that would be effective for the jury in this cross today. So, you know, but the anniversary of the boat accident, certainly very ironic that this is what is being essentially blamed for the killing of Maggie and Paul in Alex's eyes today on the stand.
And the first time that the jury heard what he thinks, he believes happened to his family members.
Certainly interesting, Brendan. We want to talk more about the testimony today in court by Alex Murdaugh. This is day 2 as he walks through the events of June 7th. But really, state prosecutors getting their chance to cross-examine Alex Murdaugh for several hours on the stand today, really attacking inconsistencies, pointing specifically to the timeline of the night of June 7th, putting Alex Murdaugh at the dog kennels, a place he's told law enforcement on several occasions he was never at. Again, attacking that inconsistency, really narrowing down a window between 8:49 and 9:02. Now, at the end of the day, the defense got back up and had a chance to redirect Alex Murdaugh, trying to tie up some of the loose ends created by state prosecutors during their cross-examination of Alex Murdaugh today. Then the state coming back and finishing up some of their points they tried to make earlier during the day. Take a listen to how the end of today played out in court for Alex Murdaugh.
Mr. Murdaugh, are you a family annihilator?
A family annihilator? You mean like, did I shoot my wife and my son?
Yes.
No.
Alex, did you murder Maggie?
I would never hurt Maggie.
Did you murder Paul?
I would never hurt Paul. If I was under the pressure that they're talking about here, I can promise you I would hurt myself before I would hurt one of them.
Now, quickly, just going over some of the emotion in the courtroom. Alex Murdaugh not as emotional today as he was yesterday. Family members not as emotional as they were today as they were yesterday. Now, again, some of the jurors listening intently at points, while others not really focused on what was going on in the courtroom. Now, the defense is going to come back on Monday. They say they have 4 more witnesses they want to call to the stand before resting. From there, we would go into rebuttal witnesses from the state and closing arguments sometime maybe mid next week. Now we want to send it back to the News 2 studios. That's where News 2's Aaron Morgan is breaking down more of the testimony from today. And Aaron, what can you tell us about what you heard Alex Murdaugh say on the stand today? Hey, Aaron.
Well, Riley, you and Brendan touched on it. Today, Alex Murdaugh said he believes his wife and son were murdered because of the boat crash involving Paul in 2019. Prosecutor Creighton Waters asked Murdaugh about the boat crash that left Mallory Beach dead when Paul was allegedly driving that boat. Murdaugh said he never thought that anyone on the boat or their families had anything to do with hurting Maggie or Paul, but he testified that after the boat wreck, there was a misrepresentation of Paul in the media, and the social media response to Paul's criminal charges connected to the boat crash were, quote, vile. Murdaugh testified that he believes his wife and son were killed as a result. Take a listen to Murdaugh's exchange with Waters.
That I believe that boat wreck is the reason why Paul and Maggie were killed. Because I can tell you for a fact that the person or people who did what I saw on June the 7th, they hated Paul Murdaugh and they had anger in their heart. And
now, Prosecutor Waters asking Alex Murdaugh if he's maybe talking about someone who was 5'2". Of course, this alluding to testimony that we heard earlier in the week when a forensic engineer said that the shooter was between 5'2" and 5'4". You can count on News 2 to keep you up to date with this trial minute by minute. We have live coverage on our website as well as live reports from Walterboro every weekday right here on News 2 at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock.